ACCUCARE Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine in Brick, New Jersey offers a state-of-the-art facility with all the best and current treatments. With athletic trainers, massage therapists, and doctors of physical therapy, ACCUCARE has everything you need to stay healthy and perform at the highest level. Cupping, stretching, laser therapy, compression boots, and a full-body cryo chamber are just some of what you can expect at ACCUCARE. Check out their website and social media links in my bio. No prescription is needed to see them. So call them today and start feeling and performing at your best. Again, thank you to ACCUCARE for sponsoring the Shore Football Report. Welcome to the Shore Football Report, Week 6 edition. I'm Rob Davis, and Scott Stump's not here. He's not here. I'm going to tell you why in a couple of minutes, and you're probably going to be laughing the whole time you're watching the talk show. Stupid me. I'm the donkey. Wait till you hear what happened. But first, before we go on, got a lot to talk about. I want to thank again ACCUCARE for everything they do. Everything to do. ACCUCARE, Pam Anthony, the owner and founder of the great establishment in Bricktown, they do a great job with all the athletes in the Shore Conference year-round, the clock, and many athletes keep adding to their list of clients that keep going there for rehabilitation, recovery. They're doing a whole 9 yards. My thing for you football players, we're getting to that stretch run. Playoffs, end of the season, the grind, all that stuff. Well, you need to take care of your body, and you need to get your body right because you don't want to regret missing football games or not performing at the best of your ability because of a nagging injury, a hamstring or a back injury, your quad, the whole 9 yards. Get to ACCUCARE. Get better so you can perform in that stretch run of the football season. They are simply the best at what they do. And I also want to thank them for what they do for our Players of the Week. Overall, Shore Conference Players of the Week get one free recovery session. And the players have been utilizing it, and they love it, and they love it. They message me, thank you. We love the facilities. We love the staff. Everything's been going great. I'm proud to be associated with ACCUCARE, and I know ACCUCARE is our number one fan of the Shore Football Report. So thank you to ACCUCARE for everything you do, and let's keep it going. Let's keep winning because you guys are the champions of the Shore Conference. Now, where do I start? Well, I have a lot of bloopers for you. I do. Unfortunately, this show was supposed to be a day earlier, but I messed up. Scott and I, we do our tapings on Tuesday, and we killed it. Scott and I were doing our talk show. We talked around for 40-something minutes, 45 minutes, and then we had Colts Neck come on, the head football coach, Matt Ahearn, and Will Surdez came on. And Scott and I, we just killed it. So when we got done, Scott said, he goes, God, we killed it. This was by far the best show. I go, I know. He gets off. I now interview Colts Neck. They leave. I can't wait to edit. I start editing the film, and what happens? I hear my voice. We see each other. When Stumpy talked, so what's going on here? When Colts Neck talked, I was taught, you can hear me clear as day. I must have clicked a button that didn't allow recording of the third party, I guess they call it. I never party. And I messed up. Oops. I went to school and I told my tech administrator, he goes, yeah, just click this button. Fixed it. I didn't know what I did wrong. I did not know what I did wrong. But you know what? Everything we did we couldn't use. So I'll probably put the bloopers up later. You'll all have a good fun laugh at it. I sounded great. I was magnificent. You can hear me. Stumpy. So you hear me talking, laughing, and you see his face, you're going to have a blast. The people that saw it, they loved it. I hope you don't love the bloopers more than the actual show today. If there is a chance that you like that stuff, then there's something wrong with me. And there's something wrong with me. You're going to get a lot of talking from me. So this talk show today is going to be a lot of talking of me. But you're not going to see my face. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to show you visuals, and I'm going to talk over it. So here's what we're going to do today in our talk show. I'm going to do a quick recap. I do a 9-minute, 5-second recap. Bang. Showing every team a little love right there for our recap. We're going to do, and I'll have the scores up there, which is going to be something different. Then we'll do the top 20 talk, and that was the talk of the weekend. Who's number one? Who's the number one team? You'll see the number one ranking. If you have not seen my video, go to YouTube. Go to my YouTube, like and subscribe so you get all that current videos all the time it comes out. The coaches, 24 coaches voted. First place vote got 13. Second place vote got 11 first place votes. I can't tell you which one's which. You got to go to the YouTube and check it or watch our show in a couple minutes and you'll see it right there. So we'll talk top 20 talk. Then we're going to go state playoff predictions. I'm not going to say what seeds or how they're going to do in it. I'm just going to tell you who the Shore Football Report is going to predict who's going to make the state playoffs. Just who makes it in every section. Yep. So what I did was I did a guesstimate of what everybody's record is going to be by the cutoff. If you were favorite in games, I counted it as a win. If you weren't favorite, I counted it as a loss. Games that were very evenly matched, I counted as a toss-up. So if you had 7 games at the cutoff, and I thought you were 3-3 with 1 toss-up, it would say you're 3-3 plus 1 toss-up, and it explains why I put you in as a state playoff qualifier, a bubble team, or you're not going to make the state playoffs. So we're going to give everybody love. You're going to see everybody where I predict your record will be. And guys, I hope you make me wrong. Well, not if I predicted you at 9-0, but if I put you at 3-4, make it wrong. There's going to be a lot of upsets from this time you watch the talk show to the end of the season. We know it will. So we're just going to have fun with it and have state playoff predictions. There's going to be a lot of races that go right to the last week and that. So have fun with that segment. I have a visual up there, and I'll be talking over top of it. State playoff predictions. I call it looking into the crystal ball. I'm going to be talking with Colts next, outstanding football coach, Coach Matt Ahearn, and outstanding outside linebacker, senior Will Surdez. We talk a little Colts neck football for 13 minutes and 18 seconds. We get right to it and talk a lot about their program, and very good. They're 25-8 in the last 33 games. People probably don't realize that. 25-8. They are a volume of consistency from the parents group right to the freshman football program. Coach Ahearn is a class act, what he does, and I'm a big fan of him. He's one of the good guys of the Shore Conference with that. And then the preview. The preview is out where I'm going to talk about it. Just me. A lot of talking to me. You're going to get sick of me, and you're going to be screaming for Stump. I gave Stump off this week because he did the whole talk yesterday. I wasn't going to duplicate something that this donkey messed up with. So I hope you appreciate me doing the show a second time. And hopefully I do a decent job, and we make it fun for all involved. Short conference football deserves to have great promotional media people promoting it. You guys have been very good to me. I appreciate it. You make it fun and you make it worthwhile for me to do what I do. All right? So wishing you guys the best. Let's have fun and let's talk Week 6 football in the short conference. All right, I'm going to do the Week 5 recap just myself. I'm going to talk a lot, but I'm going to go quickly. We're going to run right down from the top to the bottom, and let's have some fun doing this. Here we go. It was Red Bank Catholic, our number one team in the Shore, losing 17-0 at MetLife Stadium, which I call the Jet Stadium. First time they were shut out in years. Shows how good Seton Hall Prep is. I don't call that an upset, even though they would have ranked 10th in the state, and RBC came in ranked number 3. So it was a tough loss in terms of bragging rights, but Red Bank Catholic will bounce back there. Number 2, Toms River North won 60-0 versus their rival, Toms River South, in the Civil War. They're on a roll right now, Toms River North. They're scoring many, many ways, offensively, defensively, special teams, you name it. Coach Oz has them rolling. You had the number 3 Donovan Catholic also playing at MetLife versus St. Joe's Montvale, a powerhouse up in North Jersey. Them losing 41-13. The score was, I believe it was 41-0 at half, during the game, 41-0. It shows how good St. Joe's Montvale is. Donovan Catholic is in the same bracket in the state playoffs with St. Joe's Montvale. I think that game solidified Montvale will be seated higher than Donovan Catholic, but Donovan Catholic will bounce back. They're a young football team with a lot of talent. They really are. Number 4, Point Borough, winning 56-0 to Toms River East. They're on a quest to duplicate last season's South Jersey Group 2 state championship, and by no means is anybody going to doubt it. They are rolling right now. Their run game, their offensive line is powerful. Their defense is playing well. Toms River East just couldn't move. Toms River East had negative 26 yards offense. That shows Point Borough's defense is just as good as their offense. Number 6, Rumson beats Southern Regional 27-0. 2 top 20 teams. Southern coming in as a number 15 team, playing a Rumson team that's starting to peak. Rumson came in the season 0-2, and they're bouncing back. And you got Owen O'Toole throwing for 200 yards on 14-24 and 2 touchdown passes. They are peaking at the right time. Number 7, Ocean Township beat number 12, Raritan, 34-13. Yours truly was at the game. Tyler Douglas, 290 total yards of offense, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown. He's just a true leader of the football team. Get this name, C.J. Flanagan, 4 catches, 154. Did a really nice job in the win right there. You have number 9, St. John Vianney, beating number 18, Marlboro, 28-14. St. John Vianney is on a 5-game winning streak since their first game loss to RBC down in Ocean City. Kyle Varese and Michael Foley both accounted for 2 touchdowns. They're on a roll. Coach Papson has got them playing very, very good football as we speak. Manalapan, the number 10 ranked team, played Freehold Borough. A nice, easy 35-0 win. Sophomore running back Jason Rodriguez, 2 touchdowns, and sophomore defensive back Jackson Pfeiffer intercepted 2 passes, 1 for a touchdown. And Colts Neck is keeping it going. The number 11 seed beat Lacey Township 28-13. Colts Neck is 4-1. Chris Scully is on a roll, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's really doing well behind that great offensive line. Jackson, the number 13th ranked team in the Shore, won 34-0 versus their rival, Jackson Liberty. Albert D'Alessandro, 2 touchdown catches and an interception return for a touchdown. He also had 2 interceptions in a game. Ty Mann, just your typical 3-touchdown game. They're on a roll. They're looking good, and they are also peaking at the right time. Number 14, Matawan versus Homedale, 34-14. And Matawan is really taking it to teens with their youth. Amir Martinez, the outstanding sophomore quarterback, 9-10. 162 yards passing and a touchdown. Also ran for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns and only 11 carries. And Wellman Chromes had a day and a half had 7 catches, 131 yards, and a touchdown. One of the best freshman football players in the Shore Conference. Freehold Township came back in overtime to beat Brick Memorial at the goal line, stopping Connor Dietz on a rollout for the sack. 21-20 in overtime. Give credit to Brick Memorial going for the win, but Freehold Township prevailed in a huge game. 4 power points. Chase Enlow had 2 touchdowns and ran for 196 yards, and he is one of the top sophomore running backs out there. Can I believe I'm saying Freehold Township ran the football? Freehold Township is looking to make the state playoffs, I believe, for only the 4th time ever. Don't count out Brick Memorial. They will be back. Howell with a surprising 24-14 win over number 17 Wall. Egan Nelms, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns on his birthday, turned 17, not bad. Jack Gartenstein caught 8 passes, 117 yards, and ran a real nice draw at quarterback when he was the Wildcat on a play. So Howell won a very important game for their drive to the state playoffs. Shore Regional, 20 ranked Team Shore, 17-7 versus Monmouth. Nothing surprises me with Coach Kaz and the Shore Blue Devils. When you got Jackson Whitaker on defense and Alex George on offense, 128 yards and a touchdown rushing, and also senior linebacker Ty Koch had a sack and a couple tackles for losses. Impressive win for Shore. They're just rolling right now. Asbury Park had a whole bunch of kids come back and beat Barnegat at home 27-0. Quan Crawford led the attack with an interception for a touchdown of 30 yards. Asbury Park's Jashawn Carter came back for the second game, looking really good. Asbury Park, if they keep getting better each week, could be a threat at the end of the year. And mark my words, that matchup with Shore will be a premier game, and not only in the division, but in the Shore Conference. Manasquan, 41-7 versus Manchester. They scored 4 touchdowns on 1 possession of offense. They had a kick return touchdown, 2 defensive touchdowns, and scored on their first offensive possession. Brett Patton broke the all-time career touchdown record for passing, beating Eli Page. He had 39. He now has 40. Patton. So congratulations to him. How about Jamar Howard? Another kick return touchdown. He is definitely showcasing his talent on the special teams, doing a really good job anytime he touches the football. You have Brick Township with a nice-looking 34-0 win against Central, who's kind of limping through the season with a lot of key injuries. A.J. Gregel had 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, and only 7 carries. Mark my words, this guy right here, Jake Toy, is a guy, 6'4" linebacker, had an interception return for a touchdown, and contributed in many ways to the shutout. You had Pinelands, 35-6 versus Lakewood. Jamin Parkinson, a sophomore running back, 227 yards, 4 touchdowns, an impressive win, and got Coach Tierney his second career win there at home. You had Keyport keeping it rolling, 19-9 versus Gateway, a comeback win. Nazir Treadwell is doing it, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's just a man among boys playing for Coach Glesman there at Keyport. You have Point Beach, 45-8 versus Kip Academy, 115 yards by Roman Grasso. And Ryan Oreste and Joey Bailey also had 2 touchdown runs each. And they putting themselves in getting them slim hopes for the state playoffs. Good job by Point Beach. And to end the week 5, we have Keensburg just falling short, 20-14 to Haddon Township. Keensburg's fighting hard for Coach Reed. They're working their tails off, and I'm hoping they're going to get a win real quick. Well, guys, that is our week 5 recap. I know I did it quickly because I got a lot of stuff to do on this show. Now let's take a look at the KLINE Brothers Pools Week 6 Coaches Top 20 ranking. 24 coaches voted this week, and it was highly anticipated because of the losses with Red Bank Catholic and Donovan Catholic and North winning. People were very curious of how this votes were going to be, and here it was. 24 schools voted. If you look at numbers 1 and 2, there's only 2 points that are separating them. Now, Red Bank Catholic received 13 first place votes. Tom Driven North received 11. So that's how evenly matched it was, all right, to determine who was the 1 seed. What this tells me is that every week is going to be really scrutinized on how teams are playing. It's that close. So depending on how the coaches vote week to week, it could flip-flop every week. I see both of those guys winning throughout up to the cutoff for the state playoffs. So it'll be pretty interesting how coaches vote each week. The numbers 1 to 11 stayed the same. And then 12 to 20 had a little bit of a shakeup. Shore moved up 5. Freehold Township and Howell both entered the top 20 with their wins. And also, interesting was Marlboro only dropped 1 and still is hanging on to the top 20, even though they lost A.J. Schwartz for the season. So, all right, here's our Week 6 Coaches Top 20. Just take a quick look at it. You could also watch the video that is on my YouTube. Please check it out. All right, let's talk a little state playoffs. Yes, state playoffs. Let's talk about who the Shore Football Report is going to predict who's going to make the state playoffs. That's what we're going to do. We're going to look into the crystal ball, so to speak. Now, what you're going to see is visuals. You're going to see every single bracket. And I'm going to talk it through real quick, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, all that stuff right there, and scenarios. And it's going to be grouped in teams that I think are definitely in the state playoffs, are going to be state playoffs, guys that are on the bubble and need for things to happen, and then teams that are out. So it'll be 3 levels. You'll see records, and the records will only be where if they're favorite, I'm going to count it as wins for the cutoff. If they're not favorite, I'll count it as losses. I'm not rooting for a team to lose. I'm not pulling for a team to win. If the teams are neck and neck and it's like a toss-up, I will not include that in the record, and I'll put on the side plus 1 or 2 toss-ups. So you'll say 3-2 with 2 toss-ups, 3-3 with 1 toss-up, vice versa. All right. You'll see if they're getting a multiplier or 2 multipliers. So it's in the equation, and you're going to see my reasoning of why the guys are going to make it or why they won't make it with that. So we're going to have a little fun with it. All right. Who knows? Maybe I'll be right on a lot of them. Maybe I'll be wrong for a lot of them. But the bottom line is I'm rooting for all the short conference teams. And that's what we want to do, is make sure that most short conference teams are in the state playoffs. So let's have fun with it right now. Let's talk South Jersey, Central Jersey, Group 1 state playoffs. I have 3 teams making the state playoffs. I have Shore, Keyport, and Asbury Park. Shore, I predict 6-1 record with 1 toss-up. The toss-up game is going to be at Manasquan. Always tough to play at Manasquan. So they're going to be either 7-1 or 6-2. They're an easy fit going into the state playoffs. Keyport, I have going 6-2. I think they're going to go on a roll, and they don't have any toss-up games. So 6-2 will be their record at the cutoff. And then Asbury Park will go on a little bit of roll and go 4-3. I have at the cutoff. So I think those 3 teams are comfortably going to make the state playoffs without doubt. Then we have Point Beach. I have at 3-4 with 1 toss-up, and the toss-up games against Jackson Liberty. So if they can reach 4-4, I think they might be able to get maybe an 8 seed in one of those brackets. I really, really do. And Keensburg, I feel, is out. Let's talk South Jersey, Central Jersey, Group 2. I have Rumson, Point Borough, and Raritan, all 3 of them making the playoffs. You have Rumson that I have as a comfortable 4-3 record plus 1 toss-up game, and that toss-up game is against Middletown South, and that is this week. That's going to be a huge game to elevate their seed. They also have 2 multipliers. They played Donovan Catholic and Red Bank Catholic, so they're going to be getting those multipliers, which is going to put them way up the charts with that. So they're going to be a really, really high seed in any of the brackets that they're in, Rumson. So they're going to be either 5-3 or 4-4. And even at 4-4 with the multiplier, they're looking at it probably a 2 seed, the lowest. Then you have Point Borough, 8-0, and they're going to be a high seed. They'll be a 1 or 2. I'm looking at them probably being more of a 2. They could be a 1, but they're having Rumson as with the 2 multipliers might be tough to offset. And then Raritan, I have at 5-3, and they have one multiplier, which they play St. John Vianney, and that's going to help them in the PowerPoint thing right there. So you got Raritan, Point Borough, and Rumson, who I think are going to be all in the Group 2 state playoffs right there. Then on the outside looking in, I have Monmouth with 2-5 record plus one toss-up, and that toss-up is Pinelands. And if they win it, they'll go 3-5. If they lose, they go 2-6. If they go 3-5, they can make the state playoffs. Let's talk South Jersey, Central Jersey, Group 3 state playoffs. I am predicting 3 teams are definite making the state playoffs. I have Ocean, Matawan, and Manasquan. Ocean, I have them 7-0 with one toss-up, playing Middletown North in a real tough game. Middletown North is playing good football. So they're going to be either 7-1 or 8-0 going into the state playoffs. Matawan, I have at 6-2. They're going to go a little bit on a roll. And I know they have a football game against Barnegat at the end of the season, but I think Matawan is a heavy favorite in that game, and they'll be 6-2 by the cutoff. Manasquan is going to start going on a roll. Going to be 3-3 plus one toss-up, so they're going to play Shore in that toss-up. They're either going to be 4-3 or in 3-4, and with a multiplier of playing St. John Vianney, that will give them a solid state playoff appearance. So they're going to make the state playoffs. They have the 2 wins minimum, and they'll be in there. Now, looking at some other teams, Wall's an interesting team. They have 2 multipliers, but they're I have them as 0-5 and 2 toss-ups. They have to win these toss-ups because you need to have 2 minimum wins in order to qualify for the state playoffs. And that's a shame because they have 2 multipliers. And if they do make the state playoffs, they're probably going to be a home team. They probably would be. So they're either going to be a home game or they're not in the playoffs if they don't win their 2 games. Their toss-ups are against Colts Neck and then Manalapan. 2 games that I can see them going either way with. So Wall is either going to be their 2 wins, or it doesn't matter what their record is because they will not make the state playoffs. Barnegat I see as 2-5 in the cutoff plus one toss-up, and their toss-up is going to be Manchester. Well, I think they have to beat Manchester and also upset Matawan to make the state playoffs. If they can beat Manchester and Matawan, that will give them 4 wins, and they will make the state playoffs, I predict. So they got to win both of those games. And they're playing a tough Point Borough team too, which will be tough, but that will help their OSI. Pinelands, I have at 3-4 and 1 toss-up playing Manchester. Now, the thing about Pinelands is they don't have a very good OSI, and the teams that they're playing are not giving them a lot of points. So I do believe that even going 4-4 will have them fall short of the state playoffs. And it's a shame because they're a good football team. They've lost 3 games by 10 points. They're doing very, very well. And Manchester, I have them at 2-4 with 2 toss-up games. Their 2 toss-up games are against Barnegat and Pinelands. Them too, they don't have enough of PowerPoint possibilities with their schedule, and that's just a product of who they were given their schedule. So, I mean, it'd be nice if they go 4-4, but I think they're going to fall short of the state playoffs just because of their schedule. And Neptune is out. Jackson Liberty is out. Homedale's out. Now, Neptune has 2 toss-ups, but I don't see them moving up in a very, very difficult Group 3 bracket. All right, now we're going to talk South Jersey, Central Jersey, Group 4. Again, let me remind you that these records that I posted up here are all projections. And it's projected on are they favorite or not favorite. If a game was a toss-up, I didn't count it as a win-loss. I just added it as a toss-up. So the record is if they're a favorite or not, and then I just put toss-up. So you do the math and say it could be win or a loss. So let's go. I have 4 teams that are definitely going to make the Group 4 state playoffs. I have Middletown South, Colts Neck, Manalapan, and Jackson. And here's why. Middletown South, I have them at 4-2, a steady record with 1 toss-up. And the toss-up is this weekend, Middletown South at Rumson. Now, they have 2 multipliers. They play Donovan Catholic and Red Bank Catholic. So they have that high power points put on because of their multiplier. So they're going to be tough to be seated real low. I see them as a 1, 2, or 3, probably more of a 2, depending on what they do in the toss-up. But they're going to be a high team, and they're going to have some home games in the state playoffs. Middletown South. Colts Neck, I have as 5-1 with 2 toss-ups, and the 2 toss-ups are Howell at Colts Neck and Colts Neck at Wall, and they have 1 multiplier. They played St. John Vianney, and they got that multiplier added to their equation too. So they're going to be sitting pretty good, and I see them playing a home game in their state playoffs. And then Manalapan I have at 4-4 with 1 toss-up, and that toss-up is going to be versus Wall. I mean, Dominic Lepore versus Ed Guerreri. Manalapan at Wall, it will be a toss-up game for Manalapan. But they also have 2 multipliers. They play Donovan Catholic and Red Bank Catholic. So they're going to be up, and they will be probably at least a 4 seed, maybe a 3 seed, depending on if they win that toss-up game with there. And then Jackson, I have at 5-2 with 1 toss-up. They have 1 multiplier. They played Donovan Catholic. They're playing Donovan Catholic, and their toss-up is against Freehold Township. Freehold Township and Jackson will be the toss-up, and Jackson looks pretty good at getting a home game for the state playoffs, especially if they win that game against Freehold Township. Now, looking outside, looking in, I have Brick Memorial and Brick, both at 4-3, both with a toss-up, and their toss-up game is against each other. So the rivalry game is going to be the last game before the cutoff. I think, and I'm predicting, that the winner of that game is in, and the loser is out. Now tell me that wouldn't be a huge game for their rivalry game. You win, you're in. You lose, you're out. And that's what I project. I'm only projecting that. And that, just let's keep an eye on that as the weeks go on, that Brick Memorial Brick Township game could be for a state playoff berth. Tell me that's not a huge rivalry game. Long Branch 3-4 with 1 toss-up. And their toss-up is against a tough Middletown North team on the road. Long Branch can kind of slide in there maybe. They don't have any multipliers, so that's going to hurt them. But maybe a 4-4 record can slide them in, maybe. But as the weeks get closer, we could figure that out. And Red Bank, I have at 3-3 and 1 toss-up. No multipliers, but they're going to play Neptune, that's always a tough game for Red Bank with that. So that would be that. Could 4-3 get them into the state playoffs? It's going to be tough. A lot of things have to happen for them to move up, and it could happen because there's still a lot of football going on during the weeks. But that's what they would need to potentially qualify with that. Teams that are out: Lacey, Point Borough, Lacey, Freoborough, Toms River East, Toms River South, Central, and Lakewood. I feel are out of the state playoffs already. Okay, now we're going to talk North 1, North 2, Group 4, and there's only one team, and there's actually only one team in the North brackets, and that's Middletown North. Why are they in it? I don't know. But I have them at 3-2 at the cutoff with 2 toss-ups in a very, very difficult Group 4 bracket. So they're in a bubble. Their 2 toss-up games are Long Branch at Middletown North and Middletown North at Ocean. You know as well as I do, they're 2 tough games. So they're toss-ups right there. Middletown North is looking okay. I think if they get 4 wins, they can slide in there. 5 wins, they'll be a definite, maybe a 5 seed, maybe a sneak into a 4 seed. I'm not sure. We'll figure that out as the weeks get closer. But to get into the playoffs, I do believe they have to win 1, and that's a pretty not solid foundation of getting into state playoffs. 2 would definitely get them in there, though, with that. So we'll see. But Middletown North could make the state playoffs. Do I think they will? Yeah, I think they will. They're a good football team. South Jersey, Central Jersey, Group 5, really tough bracket from outside the Shore Conference. Good football down there. I have 2 teams making the state playoffs. Definitely. I do believe that. Toms River North, who's 9-0. They don't have any multipliers, but they're being 9-0. They're going to be somewhere between a 1 and 2. I don't see them dropping anymore, and I'm only saying that because they don't have a multiplier with that. But 9-0, they're going to be a solid football team in the state playoffs without a doubt. Freehold Township, 5-3, I think they're going to be, with 1 toss-up, and a toss-up would be Jackson at Freehold Township. Freehold Township has a couple key wins. I think 5 wins plus maybe this one can help them in a home game. And I think they only been to state playoffs 4 times, too, in their tenure there. So Big things are happening at Freehold Township, but I see them making the state playoffs. They have enough quality wins, and their schedule is good enough to get the OSI. I really do believe that. Now, Howell and Southern. Howell's 4-2 with 2 toss-ups. Southern's 4-3 with 1 toss-up. I'm making a prediction that Southern versus Howell in that toss-up game, the winner could be possibly for the state playoffs. I really do believe that. So that might be for the 5th win that I'm projecting Southern and Howell. So I'm saying that Howell-Southern game could possibly be for the state playoffs. Big. I wish 2 teams in the shore would be in it instead of one in the other, but I don't know if 4 wins would get the other team in, but 5 would. So Southern and Howell would be a game for the state playoffs. That's what I'm thinking. Howell also plays another toss-up game against Colts Neck. So if they can get that 5th win prior to Southern, that would even help them with that. But that's what we're looking at. And Marlboro being 3-5, they have 1 multiplier. I don't see them winning another game. They're not favorite in any of the other games. So, if they can win 1 more game, yes, they'll be in. But 3-5 with a multiplier might be tough to make in that bracket. All right, non-public A, Donovan Catholic and St. John Vianney. I have them 6-2 and 6-3, respectfully, making the playoffs. There is no PowerPoints in non-public stuff. They reseed, so we don't need to really talk about anything, but they will be in it. I see them as between a 7 and 11 seed. Those 2 teams are going to be mixed in there. Nothing wrong with that. It's a solid bracket every year, the non-public A. It really is. So those 2 teams will make the state playoffs, Donovan Catholic and St. John Vianney. Non-public B, state playoffs, Red Bank Catholic. And again, they do not use PowerPoints in non-public state playoffs. It's all seeded, and Red Bank Catholic will be seeded very highly. They are the defending champs in a non-public B. So there'll be a 1. I don't foresee them being a 2. There'll be a 1 seed. They'll finish with 7-1 record at the cutoff, and their resume is worthy of giving them the 1 seed. We're going to talk Colts Neck Cougar football with head football coach Matt Ahearn and senior outside linebacker and, should I say, utility, because you do tight end, you play running back. Can you throw a football too? Or is that part of the game plan? Don't say it, Will. Don't say it. I'll witness it, though. But Will Surdez, Will and Coach Ahearn, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, good. I'm going to keep it quick. I want to get you guys in and out. I think you have practice later tonight. Coach, before we get on, your parents group, and I don't know if it's a booster or whatever, is fantastic. Not only to you, but to me and the Sure Football Report. They've been awesome with messaging and following all our stuff. And when I went to your game against Freehold Township, made me feel real good that at least we're doing the right thing, going in the right direction. Fantastic, Coach. How important is it to have a very supportive parents group?
It's great to have their support. They are very good. They really help the kids out, buying equipment that we can't afford from school or that we need extra stuff. So they're doing a great job, and they're always very supportive, in the stands, outside, doing pasta parties and stuff.
Oh,
they're great. Yeah. Some of the food is outstanding.
Yeah. And
I should say all of the food.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Will, some of us coaches put on 3 pounds a week from the parents' food that they give out, right? Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, how great. I mean, you probably don't appreciate it right now, but later on, you look back on it, the parents on what they do are the backbone to the program. They really are. And how special is it, when they're cheering for you and then they're feeding you and then giving you all the praises after the game? How great is that feeling?
It's awesome just knowing we have a support base like that, that they go out of their way, take time out of their day to support us, all the kids on the team. It's really great to see them just out there every week supporting us.
I witnessed it when you played Freehold Township, when you guys came off the field, and they're just positive people, and that's huge. And I shouldn't be surprised, Coach, because where you are now, the state of your program, you're 4-1, you're number 11 ranked in the coaches' top 20 that just came out. You're riding a 4-game winning streak, you guys. You're first place in the Constitution Division, and if you are able to beat Howell, you'll clinch at least a tie for the division. That is great, Coach, is that where you envision you guys being after 5 games?
Oh, you always want to do your best, and we've been cautiously optimistic throughout the summer and the off season. Coming into the year, so we're happy with where we're at, but it's all about being 1-0 this week. That's all we're worried about right now.
Awesome. Now, Will, I want to get into, before we get into other things, the unsung heroes, and I call them the linemen, the ATM. We used to call them all that matter guys. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen. They don't get a lot of hype until I'm going to give you a little preview. They're going to get a lot of hype in the All-Star teams this year, guaranteed. You got some dudes up front. I want to hear some of the names of those offensive linemen and defensive linemen that make you guys look good.
Some of the offensive linemen that really get us the 300 yards rushing or 200 yards rushing game. Shea Bresnahan, great center. I've never seen a kid snap a ball that fast, to be honest. JJ Cifelli, great offensive lineman, great kid. Albert Yodakis, another young player who's going to be really great for the program. On defense, Dean Collier, one of the hardest workers I've ever met. My brother Sam Surdez, it's awesome just playing behind him. We call him Mr. Fundamentals just because he knows exactly what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And then obviously we have Charlie Whannell, Matt Liggio, who are just awesome. Everyone knows them. And Eric Guerrero at the other D ends and Anthony Lombardi. So we really just got a complete package on the offense and D-line, which is what Colts Neck football is all about.
And Coach is definitely going to vouch for this, and good character kids. Good character.
Great character kids. And it starts with the parents and it goes down to the kids. And, so you could see that,
Well, you're not doing a bad job yourself, Coach Ahearn. And talking about yourself in the program, that tradition never graduates. And we talked about this earlier. You graduated some very good football players going into this season. We talked that you had some good key players, Will included in that stuff. But you had to fill in those holes. And you were kind of cautiously optimistic, but you knew you had a good team coming in potentially. You're 25-8 the last 4 years. And, Coach, I'm just throwing out facts. I know you don't like talking about this, so I will. 25-8 the last 4 years. You got to be proud of that consistency that you're doing. That's one of the winningest programs in the last 4 years, Coach. How proud is it of you of those accomplishments so far?
Yeah, it's a tribute to the kids and who's come through the doors the last couple of years, and getting that kind of record. And then moving on, obviously, to this year. These guys are upholding the tradition, the new tradition that we're starting here. So it's great to see.
Well, you don't realize it until later on when somebody like me talks about it. But 25-8, you were a young freshman and sophomore in a program at one time, just like you have in your program right now. Did you have anybody that you looked up to that said, hey, I'm going to do that when I'm a senior?
Definitely. I just remember the last game of the season when I was a freshman, just hearing Tom Leadondici talk to us young kids on how we have to hold ourselves to a higher expectation, how we have to keep working to make this program to the next level. And those seniors really set the foundation for all of us.
Well, whatever you're doing it right. I saw it in person. Coach, your championship philosophy is working, and I love it. I love it because, good run game, very good defense, and special teams that works in a positive way every game. That's a championship caliber team right there. And I saw it 2 weeks ago to perfection. Let's talk about the defense, though. And I'm going to be a little selfish. I have a guy, Coach Norman, that is your D coordinator, that was my coach many, many moons ago. Tell me something about him that maybe I don't know or other people might know about him as a coach.
I don't think there's much that I could tell that I want to tell, actually, but he does a great job every week getting the guys in a position to be successful. Getting a game plan together that's going to put us in the right position. So Norman does a great job, but I'd be remiss actually not to mention our special teams as well. Coach Balafrone, we really put an emphasis on special teams and making sure that we're ready to play that all the time. So defense and special teams are huge for us, as well as a run game, and the passing game is obviously important, and we got to get that going again. But high school football is won and lost in the trenches, and that's what we're trying to do.
Now, Will, I was a coach for many years, and players would elevate sometimes when we said we're doing offense or defense first. Is there a certain part of practices that you like want to go first and it gets the guys juiced up? Maybe it's a certain drill. Maybe it's a phase of the game. Maybe special teams. Is there one thing that gets you guys juiced up? Maybe you have something that you do every week.
One thing everyone loves: inside drill.
God,
that's the drill. Everyone, we get to go full speed. We get to have fun. We get to learn how to play the run defense or offensive inside drill. We learn how to exactly play against the type of fronts we're going against, and that's the drill everyone gets going. That's how we get ready for. That's how we get excited for practice. Now we have inside drill that day.
I'm sure you got to tone it down because you got some dudes going on both sides going at each other, right? Yeah, Coach, you go best on best when you do inside?
We try to, yes.
Jesus, I'd love to see that.
Not for every play, but, as much as we can.
It's called quick whistle. Yeah, you do all the hitting on game day instead. But, Coach, we talked over the summer on the preview show that you loved your team. You got quality returners. Who's going to step up? All those questions have been answered. You're 4-1. Now you're playing Howell, a big game Saturday. Tell me something. Is it a big game for your program, or is it just another game on your schedule?
Like we tell these guys every week, every game is a big game. In high school football, you don't have, too many games, so you're not going to, have a fifth, a sixth, a seventh year where you can keep going. So every game's a big game, but this game is especially big because it is a rival. It's within our district, the Freehold Regional District, and a lot of the guys know each other. So it is a big rivalry and it's a big game. So we got to show up this week.
Yeah, Will, that's the key word, rivalry. You're playing Howell. My question to you is, do you know the Howell players maybe a little bit more than maybe another Brick Memorial or whatever team out there? When you say rivalry, do you bump into each other maybe when you go shopping or you go to the local fast food restaurants?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those type of rivalries. Everyone knows everyone on that field. Most of the kids grew up with each other. We played football with each other. We hang out outside of school with each other. So it's one of those just competitive environments you love in high school football.
Coach, now Howell comes in 3-2, high expectations, a lot of returners, lost a lot of games last year by a couple points, and they're kind of trying to make up for it this year, which they are. Tell me something about Howell that somebody else might not know about their team makeup without giving out a game plan.
Yeah. Obviously, they have those trees out on the edge. The receivers that they have big guys. So those guys are going to be tough to go against. But a lot of people don't talk about their defense, and their defense is very good. Coach Hill Jr. is doing a great job over there, getting those guys in position, getting them to play and run to the football. So everybody wants to talk about the big guys and the tall receivers and whatnot. And we're definitely focusing on them, but we also got to worry about their defense too.
Agree. Yep. Good point. Say, Will, I'm interested. I mean, you got Howell who likes to kind of throw the football and do all this. You're a very good, fundamentally sound defensive team. You're going to run the football, hopefully frustrate them on the other side so they don't get the ball. I mean, are you focusing on that as your philosophy for this game, or do you guys think that you create other matchups that might be beneficial to you guys?
Each game we try to find which matchup is the best for us, but it all comes down to who wins in the trenches. Like that's our philosophy every week. We want to pound the rock, and that's our biggest win every week. So that's maybe our philosophy this week.
Awesome. I'm going to end it with this. Advantages. Us coaches, we try and create advantages. We want to change our schemes. If somebody's running our offense, we want to change it in the offseason, be more pistol or whatever, or the culture. But you play Friday, Saturdays, okay? Mostly Saturdays, right, Coach, on home games. Do you guys think that it's an advantage to play Saturday games opposed to Friday?
I think it might be. Within our district, we have a lot of teams that do play on Saturdays as their home, so it's not that big of an advantage. But for us, sometimes it could be an advantage, because it's a whole different mindset. Waking up on a Saturday, coming in, and getting ready to go. So we enjoy it. That's us now. So that's what we like to do.
It's definitely different. I mean, if you're focused on Friday nights, you got to wake up one more day and worry about Friday nights. Nobody gets in trouble. or does all that stuff. As a coach, you always get nervous. Will, do you prefer Friday or Saturday games?
I personally love Saturday morning games.
Good.
It gets my mind's right. I get to visualize what's going to happen the night before, and while I'm in school, I'm not thinking about a Friday night game. I'm thinking about how I'm going to do on this test, and then I got practice, which is where I get to think about how I'm going to play in the next game. So it just gives me more time to stay focused in school and stay focused on the game.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to make a prediction. This Saturday is going to be a big game for everybody in the Shore because their eyes are going to be on you guys and Howell. So I want to thank you guys for coming on the show and wishing you guys the very best in a big Saturday football game, not only for you guys, but for Howell in a key Constitution division game. Coach, thank you for coming on the show. All right, we're going to do a Week 6 preview of all the football games in the Shore Conference. And again, it's just me talking, so I'm going to go through it as quickly as I could, get everybody's names out there of their programs, and that's that. Again, I'm by myself. I'm not with Scott right now, so let's do it right now. We got number 1 Red Bank Catholic at Manalapan, the number 10th ranked team in the Shore. Manalapan is going to get a multiplier from this game. Red Bank Catholic is coming off a loss, their first loss this season. This is not a good matchup for Manalapan. Red Bank Catholic, I'm sure, is going to be hungry and to make a point, letting everybody know that they are the number 1 football team and make a statement with Manalapan. Manalapan's got a good football team too, so I'm very interested to see if Manalapan can contain Red Bank Catholic's physicality of their offense and defense, and if they can and make it into special teams, they got Anthony Macchio at Manalapan that can always make a big play, and also Colton as a kicker. But Red Bank Catholic has a lot of horses on their football team. Sabino Portella, Frankie Williams is having a great year. Don't forget about Manuel Ross and Najee Rahman. They are loaded with talent. I love their defense with Aiden Donahue, the defensive end, and also, of course, Davin Bruton with Michael Palmieri. They're loaded, Red Bank Catholic. This is a tough game for Manalapan. The second game is Tom Driver North, the number 2 ranked team in the Shore. They're 6-0 versus Lacey Township, not having a typical Lacey Township season. Coach Versil, yes, he's won 300 wins, but that's not going to help him in this week with Tom Driver North, who's just rolling right now. Micah Ford is just leading an offense that is second to none. And they're one of the top public school teams in the state of New Jersey, without a doubt. They're rolling. They have numerous athletes on the perimeter, but I really love their guys in the trenches. Jalen Matthews, Josh and Jay Kane, Biaco. All those dudes up front are tough to resist. So Tom Driver North's offense and defense might be a little too much for Lacey Township. Third game, number 3 ranked Donovan Catholic versus Wall, who is winless. Donovan Catholic lost last week at MetLife Stadium to St. Joe's Montvale. Donovan Catholic's a good football team. Just imagine how good that team must be. They're going to be hungry to get back on winning ways, playing a Wall football team that, has, they're kind of with a new coach, Ed Guerreri, playing a tough schedule, and adding Donovan Catholic to the mix is going to be a tough game for them to resist. Donovan Catholic just might have a little too much skill players for them, and they're also not that bad in the trenches, led by Zaire Day and Adam Yevanchek. Point Borough is playing Monmouth, 5-0 versus 2-3 Monmouth. Point Borough is steamrolling right now. They don't have great stats individually because they keep divvying it up. They're playing on short fields because their defense is giving up, I think, 115 yards a game. They're just playing great football, all cylinders, offense, defense, and also special teams, returning a couple kicks for touchdowns and playing relentless football on that right there. I don't see Point Borough being challenged too much by Monmouth. Point Borough is just right now is steamrolling and looking to be a number 1, number 2 seed in Group 2 football. Here's the game of the week by a lot of people. Number 5, Middletown South versus number 6, Rumson. 3-1 Middletown South, 3-2 Rumson. You compare teams, you do the whole 9 yards, you do your checklist of what players they got here and over here. I mean, it just kind of narrows it down to it's going to be probably the guy with the ball last is going to win this football game. There are two evenly matched football teams. There are two football teams that have high expectations to make it big in the state playoffs. Rumson in Group 2, Middletown South in Group 4. This is a great game to watch because it's going to be two good football programs that's going to make a stand in the state playoffs. I love Rumson's Owen O'Toole at quarterback. He's doing a really nice job surprising people a lot. I like Jake Zawackel at quarterback too. At Middletown South, a junior. Also Donovan Subney at running back. There's some star power on both sides. Do not forget Colin Gallagher at the linebacker coming off the edge, wrecking havoc behind a line of scrimmage. Those guys are going to have a big game on hand for him. I wish I could be there. Scott Stump may be at that Rumson game, and that's going to be a barn burner there. Ocean Township versus Brick Township. The number 7th ranked Ocean Township playing 3-2 Brick. Brick's kind of the sleeper team. I kind of think that they're kind of playing a lot better than people thought because they were missing a lot of guys through graduation. Ocean Township, again, they had 2 wins last year. Are they surprising people? Well, I know they were injured last year, and I said it, I told you so, that Ocean Township was going to be that surprise team too, and they are looking real good, led by Tyler Douglas, Shane Garrett, CJ Flanagan, Ben Gerard. They got some good football players on that team right there, and they're playing real well. That's going to be a tough game. Brick Township, if they can win that game, will solidify a berth in the state playoffs. They need to get that 4th and 5th win, but if they beat Ocean Township, that might be able to do it right there. Long Branch is marching into number 8, Middletown North, and Middletown North is looking good with Luke Sheehan, his first season at quarterback. He doesn't look like a first-year quarterback, very polished, under the direction of Coach Steve Bush. Jake Lopez and Peter Dempsey, 2 of the better DNs in the Shore Conference. He's got athletes on the perimeter. I always said that Coach Bush is the best offensive play caller. He just seems to get his athletes at the second level every single season. Long Branch is kind of off to a start with Chad King, his first football season there, not doing what they thought they were going to do at 1-3. Ernest Reevy, Shamar Williams, Saku Camus, they got talent. They really do. Could Long Branch go in there and beat Middletown North? Yeah. Don't be surprised if there is an upset at Middletown North. And I'm not saying that as a disrespect to Middletown North. I'm just saying if Long Branch plays like they did against Middletown South in the first half, they can play with just about anybody in the Shore Conference. Raritan, the number 13th ranked football team this week, playing number 9, St. John Vianney at Vianney. Vianney may be the hottest football team in the Shore Conference after losing to Ocean City. After losing to Red Bank Catholic at Ocean City, they put on 5-game winning streak on their line. Coach Papson doing a great job with St. John Vianney with a lot of adversity during the season, including that first game loss, just holding the fort down. Right there. Christian Buchanan, Kyle Varese, love those guys. Playmakers for St. John Vianney. Now, Raritan comes in there. Could they do a little minor upset, if you want to call that an upset? Kieran Falzone is one of the best running backs in the Shore Conference. Can they do it? Yeah. Danny Calicari's got to have a big game, too. Raritan's been in big games. They're going to be a big team in the South Jersey Group 2 or Central Jersey Group 2 state playoffs. A big win here, plus the multiplier, is big for Raritan. So this can go either way. I think this is a toss-up game and a fun game to watch. Number 18 ranked Howell going to number 11 Colts Neck. Huge game in the Constitution for Colts Neck. They win, they share at least they clinch at least a share of the title. But I don't think Colts Neck wants to share it with anybody, not with one of their rival schools, Howell. Howell's playing good football, just beat Wall. Jack Gortenstein moving the receiver, I think, makes them a better football team. With they're just a better football team all around when he's playing receiver. But the thing about Howell, I like their defense. I like Seven Miller at DN. I like Ray DeFrancisco at linebacker. They're 2 playmakers that can make turnovers into scores really, really quick. Now, Colts Neck, who you heard Coach Ahearn and Will Surdez on our show, they got some talent too. Eric Larerio at defensive end. I love Charlie Wallen. Ligio, Lombardi on lineman, and don't forget Chris Scully at running back. Colts Neck is going to be tough to beat at Howell. It's going to be in mud, playing against Howell, who wants to spread the ball around, and Colts Neck is going to want to hold on to the football, move the chains, play good defense, and also special teams. Very, very big game for both teams for power points. Number 12, Jackson versus number 19, Marlboro. Marlboro's coming into this game now. Now they're starting to come to realization that they don't have A.J. Schwartz anymore. They just lost to St. John Vianney last game, held on tight in a tough game, but lost at the end. Sometimes it gets tough when you start doing your stretches now for the second, third weeks, and your leader's not there no more. So you start morphing into, a different identity. They're different than when they started the season. But they do have a couple good football players, Ryan Mendez, Matt Cassidy. Matt Cassidy's burdened the load at running back, playing solid linebacker. But they're going to play a Jackson team with explosive Albert D'Alessandro, Jaden Hernandez, Ty Meehan, Aiden Sweeney, and don't forget Ryan Fisher up front. Jackson is going to be real tough. This may be a game where Jackson can kind of steal it playing Marlboro because they want to win a championship too, and they can do that. Toms River East is playing at number 14 Mattawan. Coach Graber has got Mattawan playing good football. Should I say traditional Mattawan football? Maybe, maybe not. They're very young at the skill position. Amir Martinez, the quarterback, the outstanding quarterback, putting up some Madden-like numbers out there, running and passing, throwing the football, running all over the place. Wellman Chromes, I love him at wide receiver, the outstanding freshman. I love Cameron Cooper at wide receiver. He is an athletic junior, one of the best around. They got skill kids, and they got a pretty good lineman too in terms of Nick Windsor, Jaden Elijah, and Zion Spence. I like that. And don't forget Jordan Reamer, who made that great hit against Pinelands at the goal line to win the game. Mattawan playing good football. It's going to be a tough matchup for Toms River East. Point Beach is coming in there against the number 15th ranked Shore. Coach Kaz, never count him out any year. He's a program guy, a body of consistency. They're playing good football and have one of the best defensive ends or two-way players in Jackson Whitaker. Big 6'4", 230-pound junior. Big guy, Division I football. Ty Koch is playing good football. Lucas Rosa is running the football real hard. Shore is going to give Point Beach fits with their style of play, and I don't see it any different for this game. Central is playing Southern Regional. Central is actually 0-5. Let me change this. Central's playing Southern Regional. Central's been hit with the injury bug, not just with Chase Gumbert, the best running back in the Shore, but many other players. And it's starting to affect the football team right now because they're very inexperienced as the season's winding down. Southern Regional, 2-3. They need this win to keep their hopes up for the state playoffs. And Coach Donahue knows a lot about state playoffs in his tenure as a coach throughout the state. Southern Regional is going to be tough as the weeks go on because if they get closer to the state playoffs, you never want to count out Coach Donahue's football team. I love Andy Folletta's play at quarterback. He's good leadership. I think he's doing a great job changing the offense and also being that leader or the quarterback of the defense right there. Southern looks tough to play in this week right here for Central. Freehold Borough playing at Freehold Township in a big rivalry game. Coach Davies, I always say he's tough after a tough game to play. Well, he just won. Hopefully I'm not right on that. He wins one, lose one, and then he recovers. But they need to go on a little bit of roll. I see that this game could be a good game where they get on a roll. Mark Aguayo, Nick Cordone at quarterback, just doing a great job with a two-platoon type of quarterback system. The defense is playing good enough to win, making a great stop at the end of the football game. Meehan on the sack at the end against Connor Dietz ended the game for a win in overtime. Freehold Township looks good in this game, and they got it going right now. Toms River South is playing Brick Memorial. Brick Memorial lost a heartbreaking game to the team we just talked about, Freehold Township. Connor Dietz If Connor Dietz has the football in his hand, he is a threat. He is as good as anybody offensively in the short conference. Only a junior, on the top leaders in all-purpose yardage. He'll put up numbers. They are the number one ranked team offensively, but their defense is struggling. But with Tom Rivers South being so young, this may be beneficial for Brick Memorial. Brick Memorial needs this game to keep their chances of the state playoffs alive, and I have a feeling they're going to have a good chance winning this game. Homedale is playing at Manasquan. Tough game. Manasquan's got their guys back. Patton came back from an injury. Detlinger came back from an injury. Jameer Howard came back. How about them scoring 4 touchdowns on one possession last week in their win against Manchester? That's just kick return touchdown, Jameer Howard, and 2 defensive touchdowns, and then Patton led a drive to score a touchdown. Guys, at what point do you say to yourself, don't kick the ball to Jameer Howard? He's already got 2 kick return touchdowns. Homedale's limping in there. They lost their quarterback for the year. Coach Reynes has been out for a couple weeks. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Tough game for a team going to Manasquan. Manasquan does not lose very often throughout the years at home. Red Bank playing Neptune. Red Bank needs this win to again have a chance for the state playoffs. And this could be a trap game because Neptune plays Red Bank tough all the time. This could be a potential upset. They've been playing real tough, losing to Brick by 1 touchdown, 13-6, and then losing last week, the other week, to who was it? To Brick Memorial. They lost the other week at the end of the game, to Brick Memorial, 47-41 in overtime. So that they're a tough 0-4 football team. I know that sounds weird when you say something like that, but they are. And Red Bank needs this win. This is a game that scares me if I'm Red Bank because they need this win, and Neptune isn't your typical 0-4 football team. This could be a potential upset. I wouldn't be surprised because Neptune has some athletes. Devon Kraft. I love Banks, DeAndre Banks. They're going to be a tough match for Red Bank. This is a game that can go either way. Don't be surprised if it's a shootout. I love Red Bank's offense, but Neptune can score too. Manchester at Barnegat, 2-2-3 teams. The winner gets to be 500. Manchester started out of the gates 2-0 this year and then kind of peter off a little bit. And then Barnegat kind of lost a tough one at Asbury Park last week, 27-0. JoJo Bivens needs 82 yards to become Barnegat's all-time leading rusher. And, that alone should spark the football team to get him those yards. And if JoJo gets over 100 yards, Barnegat's really tough to beat at any time when that happens. Jackson Liberty 2-3 versus Pinelands 2-3. These are 2 teams that are pretty excited about this season being 2-3 because they're not used to being on that winning edge. And Coach Sharples stunned everybody by beating Manchester 18-14. And Pinelands, with Coach Tierney, has had the guys playing real tough, losing 3 games by a total of 10 points. They basically could be 5-0 with a little lady luck on their side. Tierney's doing a great job with the football team. They need this win to get their record to respectability and give them a slight chance for the state playoffs. And Jackson Liberty's saying the same thing. So the winner that wins is still got, their taste buds going in the right direction for state playoff time. Good luck to both. Keensburg, 0-5, playing Asbury Park, 2-2. I like Asbury Park when they're all there. When their whole team's there, they got Jashawn Carter. You have Jashawn Brown. I love Raleigh Stevens, Rozzy McNeil. They got football players. If Asbury Park is all there, they could be as good as anybody. Look for them to go on a roll. And Keensburg's having a tough season under first-year coach, Coach Reed. Asbury Park needs this game to keep the games going and make it important against Shore. Lakewood, in our last game, Lakewood at Keyport. Lakewood struggling defensively. Offensively, they're scoring. Keyport, Coach Glesman's got them going after their first game loss against Manville. Nazir Treadwell, as long as he's on the field and has the ball in his hand, Keyport's in good shape. Look for Keyport in a high-scoring game versus Lakewood. Well, this is Rob Davis signing off. I hope you enjoyed the Week 6 edition of the Shore Football Report. I apologize for the mishap with the bloopers I did. Next time, I will make sure the volume's on when I have Scott Stump talking with me so we don't have to wait an extra day for me to do stuff like this. All right? Thanks for being loyal fans, guys, and appreciate the game of football this week going on in the Shore Conference.